an ad was placed on X yesterday, I think, by Elon and Vivek about employees. They're looking for people to help them with this government of efficiency thing.
I was all ready to fill it out, and then I found I was unpaid.
Yeah, right.
So never mind.
Not just unpaid, but the hours don't seem to be that great. 80-plus hours per week.
Yep.
$0. Lots of tedious work. That sounds fantastic, doesn't it?
While I am already verified, I think the only people that could DM were verified users of X. So, just saying.
Wow.
Okay.
Just saying. A little interesting.
Look, we want to be public servants. Now's our time to step up. I mean,
absolutely, and I feel that way.
But,
do you feel that way?
Somebody else can step up, is what I'm saying.
So Ron Paul's been talking about the Department of Government Efficiency. He had this to say yesterday. One of the little something.
We have visited with both Musk and Ramaswamy, and they're very, very dedicated, and I think they truly believe that they can cut a couple $1 trillion off the budget. But I don't think my problem with that is that will awaken a lot of people.
Sure will.
You can't cut. You can't cut $2 trillion without annoying a couple people.
Well,
there's
tough.
no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Tough. Yeah, people are going to be annoyed.
That's
everybody.
exciting.
We talked about that before. I mean, everybody is all for the cuts.
Yeah.
Until they show up in your house.
And by the way, Vivek does have plans to reach out to Ron Paul for assistance. And
these are just recommendations, by the way. They don't have any authority.
It got to be due in by, what was it? July 4th, 2026. And then we're going to start slashing. Because that'll be in time for the fiscal year 26-27.
Okay. And that's also our 250th anniversary. Yep. That's going to be really cool.
Yes, it
250 years as a nation.
And Pat, before you go on that one, one more thing. Here's Vivek's plan on how to downsize the government.
All right.
Get in there on day one. Say that anybody in the federal bureaucracy who is not elected representatives obviously are elected by the people, but of the people who are not elected, if your social security number ends in an odd number, you're out. If it ends in an even number, you're in. There's a 50% cut right there. Of those who remain, if your social security number starts in an even number, you're in. And if it starts with an odd number, you're out. Boom. That's a 75% reduction. Then literally stochastically, okay? One of the virtues of that, it's a thought experiment, not a policy prescription, but one of the virtues of that thought experiment is that you don't have a bunch of lawsuits you're dealing with about gender discrimination or racial discrimination or political viewpoint discrimination. Actually, the reality is you've, at mass, you didn't bring the chisel, you brought a chainsaw. I guarantee you, do that on day one and do step two on day two. On day three, not a thing will have changed for the ordinary American other than the size of their government being a lot smaller and more restrained, spending a lot less money to operate it. And most people who've run a company, especially larger companies, know this. It's 25% of the people who do 80 to 90% of the useful work. These government agencies are no different. So now imagine you could do that same thought experiment, but not just doing it at random, but do it still at large scale while having some metric of screening for those who actually had both the greatest competence as well as the greatest commitment and knowledge of the Constitution. That, I think, would immediately raise not only the civic character of the United States. Now we feel, okay, the people we elect to run the government, they've got the power back. They're running the government again, as opposed to the unelected bureaucrats who wield the power today. It would also stimulate the economy. I mean, the regulatory state is like a wet blanket on the American economy. Most of it's unconstitutional. All we require is leadership with a spine to get in there and actually do what conservative presidents have maybe gestured towards and talked about, but have not really effectuated ever in modern history.
Nice. Okay. Exactly. That'd be interesting if they just come in and start cutting people because, well, you had an odd number at the end of your Social Security.
Or reverse it, whatever the case. I mean, just do that. And then once you're through that, then you can go back and revisit some of those employees because some of those employees may have been in the 25% that are productive employees. Bring them back in. You can bring them back in. But not right now.
Be interesting to see if something along those lines happens, because I'd still be somewhat surprised.
I feel like the answer to that is no.
That's kind of what I think.
It's fun to watch.
But it is fun, yeah. And it gives the left something to talk about and cry about.